Hey, what's up everyone? This is Silver Slayer. Thank you for tuning into this video. These are the do's and don'ts to stacking silver. In my last video I posted earlier today, I talked about the worst stacking strategy possible, the worst silver stacking strategies and what you shouldn't do, but I want to offer some solutions. In that video I didn't really dig deep enough to describe how you can be a successful silver stacker. I was basically telling you what not to do, or aka, bad choices, and how easy it is to get lost in panic selling and impulse buying. But now I want to talk about some solutions, because yes, silver stacking can be easy, but we can also complicate it, and it can be extremely, let's say, diverse, to say the least. There's so many different types of stacking strategies. There's so many different types of coins out there. There's so many different buying time frames. Different people have different financial situations, so it can be overwhelming. So hopefully by the end of this video you will have a better sense of direction in the way you want to take your journey into the world of precious metals. Now, it depends on several different factors. To name a few, let's talk about your financial situation. Now, what works best for me might not work best for you, because everyone has different buying time frames, different selling time frames, different financial situations. So maybe right now it's best for me to be stacking American Eagles, but for you, you might have a larger stack than I do, or maybe a bigger income. So maybe you should be diversifying into pandas or something along those lines. It really is individual. It's a very individual investment. So to start out, figure out which direction you want to go. Are you a core bullion stacker? Are you figuring out that lowering your dollar per cost average and accumulating a lot of silver for cheap, just building a foundation, is the smartest route you should go? Or are you someone who can only buy 1 ounce of silver a month? So maybe you have to stack a little differently. Or maybe you've already diversified and built a foundation, and now it's time to branch out and try some other types of silver to protect yourself from spot price. Figuring this out is extremely important, especially in the beginning, because the sooner you figure this out, the sooner you can start buying silver and starting to accumulate this goal, or start to really stack towards your goals. Now, I mention this before I bring this next point up, because not every place is going to have the best prices. There's not like a Walmart for silver that has the lowest prices everywhere. APMEX might have the best prices for pandas, but JM Bullion might have the best prices for kookaburras, or vice versa. Or maybe Provident Metals has the best prices for American Eagles, and let's say SD Bullion might have the best prices for some bars, some cast bars. So if you can figure out which place or what types of silver you want to buy, then you can start singling out which sites have the best prices for that silver. Because if you just buy all of your silver at one place, you could be paying higher premiums for places where you could find it cheaper. Now, the one gray area to this is if you are only buying, a couple ounces, then you would want to buy from all one place to get the $100 free shipping. But if you're going to be buying several ounces of each types of this silver, then yes, figure out which places have the best prices and go from there. Now, that's the do. Now, you don't want to go all in at once. Figure out if it's the right time to buy, because there's not always a right time to buy. If there's a rally going on and most people are talking about silver, friends and family, it's all over the news, YouTube videos, that's usually a time you don't want to be buying, because that means the prices are usually higher. But for some reason, this is actually when most people are buying. Most people buy high and sell low. You do not want to fit in this category. You want to be someone that buys low and sells high. Get some of the profits. If you could look back and see a chart of when silver prices are higher and lower, just a statistical chart of the prices, you would think that most people sold when silver was $50 in 2011. And most people bought when it was $15, but actually it's the opposite. Most people were buying silver when it was $50, and most people were selling it when it was $15, because that's the fear. That's the irrational thought, that's the irrational perspective that comes into play when people aren't really aware of how markets work. So you want to understand how these markets work. Let's talk about this though, because there is a couple different parts to it. There's the chart analysis standpoint of it, where you can just look at the historical patterns, look at triangle formations, look at, the support lines, the resistance levels, what it needs to stay above and below, if it's looking like it's in a bullish trend or it's in a bear market. All of this is correlated to each other, but you also need to understand how to incorporate what's happening in the economy, geopolitical fear. What's up with the US-China trade negotiations right now? Is the dollar index higher or lower? Are stock markets breaking record highs, or are they having a lot of volatility right now? What's happening with the Iran tensions, the US or the Hong Kong protesting, the FOMC cutting interest rates? All of this stuff is incorporated with silver's price, because silver it's interesting because it's a safe haven investment. So usually when things are going bad in the economy, that's when silver prices are rising. Unlike most other things, when things are going bad in the economy, prices are lower. Silver actually does the opposite, and it rises in price. And this is because when people fear the government, when people are fearing the banks, they don't really trust or not at ease with what's going on in the economy, they turn towards gold and silver to kind of keep their money safe as the dollar deflates. Now, you should be doing this anyways, regardless, because the dollar is losing its purchasing power and it's deflating due to hyperinflation. So, regardless of the state of the economy, you should always be stacking gold and silver to some extent, because there's no solution anymore. The only alternative is precious metals. It's not like we're going to be able to fix this $24 trillion debt that we have. Go to usdebtclock.org and look at the amount of debt we're in. It's absolutely incredible. It's insane, and there's no fixing that. There's no way that we're going to be able to fix this problem. All you can do is preserve your wealth, hedge against inflation, buy precious metals. Now, there's also the other side of it, which is the supply and demand, which means that the demand is going to be rising, especially with all the uses that silver has. EVs, electric vehicles. You just saw Elon Musk's Cybertruck that just came out. In 20, 30 years, every car is going to be electric, which means it takes more silver. And silver being the most highly conductive metal for thermal conductivity and electricity, you can see how we're going to need more and more silver, but the supply of silver, the production of silver, is diminishing. It's vanishing before our eyes. So we really need to start stacking it, because us, the ones that own it, are going to be the ones selling it to the people that need it, which are these big business industries, and it's going to be happening sooner than later. So you definitely want to be figuring out what your game plan is. If you want to be stacking silver for the metal content because you believe that the surplus is going to be pushing it higher, or if it's going to be something else. Now, that's going on along the lines of, reading the charts. Now, there's still other things to go along with this though as well. You don't want to be impulse buying, because there is wrong times to buy, like we mentioned, right? Well, what if I told you that not only that, you also could be purchasing your silver for, I guess, higher prices than needed? Sometimes these coins when they first come out. That's not always the best time to buy them. Sometimes that's actually when they're most expensive. Like, I remember when the Krugerrands and the Swans came out, they were like $90 at first, and then they got they shortened down to around 60 or 70. So sometimes it's not always the soonest. Usually 9 times out of 10 it is. Like with the pandas, kookaburras, usually they're cheapest when they first come out, and then over the next 3, 4, 5 years they double, triple, quadruple in price. But sometimes it actually does the opposite when demand, or I guess the collectability of it actually falls. Now, this is due to just pricing, just influencing pricing to extreme degrees with these coins that are way higher. They're way more expensive than they need to be, whether it's because there's higher mintage numbers, lower mintage numbers, it's a set or a series. I mean, the Queen's B series is a perfect series, for example, where they're priced relatively, good. They're 2 ounces, so that's why they're around the $46 range when they are being sold, and that's still, relatively close to spot price. There's a great design. It's from a really respectable mint. It's from Perth Mint. They look good. It's just a strong series with, a lot of potential. And if you collect every year the Queen's Beast, then you know that that's going to be a very profitable set once you get all of the coins. Now, that's just some things that I recommend, the do's and the don'ts in the world of silver stacking. I hope this video did help. If you did want to watch the video, if you missed the video I posted earlier talking about the worst silver stacking strategy, I definitely recommend that, because this video kind of goes hand in hand with it. I just want to dive a little deeper into the do's and the don'ts. But anyways, I hope you guys did enjoy this video. If you did, make sure to smash that like button. This was Silver Slayer. Thank you guys for tuning in. I'll see you guys soon. Peace.